ladies and gents, welcome to episode number 4. As you can clearly see, well, actually, it's a podcast, you can't see, but if you could see, you would see my hat, and there's an airplane on it, and that's what we're going to talk about, airplanes. And this is all I want to talk about today, because I love airplanes, and nothing makes me as happy as airplanes.
You know, there's 3 cameras on you, so they will see you.
Are you ready? No, I'm kidding, guys. No, I'm kidding. No, we're going to talk about sports and the evolution of sports and different tours popping up, different big players joining different leagues and buying up teams, and there's a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of stuff happening right now, and maybe a new tennis tour, like people have been talking about. Is there going to be a new tennis tour, like something close to the Live tour in golf, and all the different owners now? Like there's a lot of new owners in football and soccer and basketball, and why not have this conversation with no other than Shanka?
And why not talk about the new tour with? No, I think. It's definitely interesting to see sports becoming an asset class. Now, maybe we should start with tennis, actually, since you've been there when things were not so good.
Oh my God, tennis has been so much happening in tennis in the last years, and the tour. And tennis is a funny one because you have the ATP tour, which was founded in, oh my God, I should know this by heart, 1972, I believe. Producer, please check. Was it 1972? I have my funny we talk about tennis. I have my stock market page. Like I'm trading right now. Anyway, we have our smart producer in the background. He will check when the ATP tour was founded. But back then it was founded by tennis players for tennis players, because the ITF back then, or the governing body, had too much power, and players thought, okay, we need to create something to actually have more say in it and to control. It was 1972. Thank you. And that was 1972. We had a boycott at Wimbledon where a lot of players didn't play, and now I feel like again we are at a point where tennis is, at least that's what some players and people feel like, is being ruled by too many people that are not tennis players, and tennis players these days don't have much to say, honestly. And a great example is we have a certain amount of mandatory tournaments that we have to play, and for years players were saying that the tour is way too long. The first tournament starts sometimes on the 27th, 8th or 9th of December, so a few days before New Year's Eve, and it ends for some end of November, beginning of December. I think this is the longest tour there is out of all the sports on the planet.
But my understanding of tennis was that you could pick. You didn't have any governing body that forced you to go into certain tournaments. You could pick whichever you played and then go wherever you wanted.
Yes and no. They can't force you because you say you're injured and you can't play. But you have mandatory tournaments. You have to play them. And if you don't play them, you will get 0 pointers for your ranking, and then your ranking drops automatically even though you don't play, because there's only, I should know this as well, but I think there's only 18 or 19 tournaments that come, because it keeps changing. It used to be 18, now it might be 18 or 19. You have a certain amount of tournaments that count towards your ranking. You could play 30, but only the best 18 or 19 count. And they go by, 4 Grand Slams count. Even if you don't play the 4 Grand Slams, they will count towards your ranking, meaning if you don't play them, you get 0 pointers.
Yep.
So it's like 14 tournaments and 4 0 pointers. Then you have all the Masters 1000. Then you have a couple 500s and a couple 250s.
Okay.
They make sure that you play on each level. You play all the different tournaments, but then you can choose what 500s and 250s you play. But you have to play all the Masters 1000s. You know what I mean? And if you don't play them, then you don't get the points, and also you get points towards the end of the year which count toward the bonus pool. You don't get bonuses paid out, so there is some sort of a way to make sure that players play them. You should play them. Okay. And now the new thing is that you used to be you were allowed to play exhibition tournaments. If someone invites you in your free time to go play somewhere. Now, if the tournament, the exhibition tour lasts more than 2 days, you're not allowed to play in them.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So they do limit. And then sometimes we go like, who decides all this? It's not the players. And then we have a structure of, the players, the player council who speaks to the player board who represents the players, and then the player boards meets with the board of the tournament side, and then they meet and then they make a decision. So from what I believe, it's there is 6 on the player board, 3 and 3, or 8, 4 and 4, so it's an equal amount. And then the president, the CEO, he has the final say. He has the last vote.
And that's the ATP board.
And that's the ATP. Yes.
Okay.
So in the end, if it really comes down to a vote, it's going to be players versus tournaments, even, and then the final say will have to decide the outcome of the future of tennis, more or less. And as players, we can say, okay, look, we're not happy with this or that, but we cannot enforce anything because we don't own the tour anymore, and also we can't. We're all freelancers basically, so we cannot start a union. We don't. We cannot enforce anything. We cannot decide about anything, and that's, I think, what is wrong about today's tour. Yes, all the people want the best for the players, but in the end, they are making all the decisions.
Actually, that's the crazy part, for you to be considered just a freelancer when there's so much around you. I mean, tennis is one of the best, the highest quality sports today. I mean, it's watched like any other, or I even watch more than other sports. But for it to have that poor structure is pretty crazy to me.
It's because no one really owns,
it's super fragmented.
No one owns it because the tournaments are owned by the tournament owners. They get a license. They can purchase a license from the ATP Tour. The ATP Tour gives out licenses, but the ATP Tour doesn't own anyone because players sign a freelance contract for a year.
Yeah.
So basically, if all the players, December, decide we're not going to sign for next year, the ATP Tour will have 0 players. They will not own anything. So the structure is very, very interesting and funny in a way. And there's a lot of details that come with it. I don't know all of them because I don't like to get involved into it because you can, on paper, there's many things written on paper and it might look all legal and sound and everything is perfect, but in real life is that I've been on tour for 20 years, nothing has really changed. If we don't have much say, a lot of stuff, yes, prize money is improving, yes, the conditions are improving, the tournaments are improving, everything is improving, but we don't have much say anyway. So I don't get involved in it. I don't get involved in politics, and I just stay out of it. Yes, there's more prize. Everything is great. Could it be better? I'm sure, but we need an owner. We need 2 owners.
But the NFL has the NFLPA, the NBA has the NBAPA. You have different types of unions. Recently, there was the PTPA. Isn't that your? It's
not a union. It's not allowed to be a union. So it's. Okay. That's what I'm saying.
That's another nuance into that whole mix.
Players can't boycott. So tennis players are not allowed to boycott.
What do you mean?
They're not allowed to boycott a tournament. They're not allowed to not go and not play. They get fined for that.
But I thought the ATP was just a member. You get your membership.
When you sign the contract, it says you're not allowed to boycott. You're not allowed to create a union and all that stuff. So is
that actually legal? Because the ATP is a US entity, right? I think there must be some antitrust.
Isn't there now a lawsuit happening right now?
Oh, yeah.
There is, right?
Yeah.
There's, what's the name of it?
Antitrust?
No, but the NCAA had the lawsuit. Oh my God, brain freeze.
The NCAA had the lawsuit. You mean the NIL stuff?
What's it called when big...
Oh, class action.
Yeah.
That's what you meant.
Class action. Yeah, class action lawsuit. Yeah. Gosh, we talked about that class action so much that I forgot about it. Yes, so there's a lawsuit happening right now because of that. Because players apparently don't have enough say. The interests of the players are not being represented in the proper way, and this is what's happening right now.
So how easy or how difficult would it be for just a newcomer to create his own tour? Because that ATP membership is 1 year, right? And you renew it every year.
Exactly.
So let's say at the end of 1 year, a set of players got incentivized by a private third party to do another tour.
They legally could do it.
But
then again, you want to play the slam. So in tennis,
Yeah.
as much as you love all the tournaments, the biggest tournaments are the slams.
Mhm.
Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open. Um, if you win one of those, you become a legend. And this is why everyone plays.
The slam. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that thinks they can win them, everyone else plays for the money and the love of the sport. So if you want to play tennis on a professional level, you want to play the big tournaments, you need to play the slams.
But the slams,
The
nothing
slams,
stops them from.
They have it where they have an agreement with the ATP tour.
But is that also a 1-year membership type,
No,
or is it a multi-year?
I don't know the contract, but I think that the long-term contracts that there's points, there's
Mhm.
ATP points that are given to slam tournaments, and the players that play in them. To enter a Grand Slam tournament, you need to be ranked on the ATP tour,
Mhm.
and you collect points on the ATP tour playing smaller tournaments. So they're very individual, like they're very separated, but they kind of work together because also the slams, they have, let's say, a body that's overseeing the rules and regulations, which is the ITF.
Okay.
But the ITF doesn't own the slams. Each slam
Yeah, just a
owns
regulator.
itself. Yeah,
That's
they're
it. Yeah.
completely. If tomorrow one slam says, "Look, I don't want to be part of the ATP tour. I don't want to be part of ITF.
Mhm.
I want to do my own thing. I want to become an EXO. I want to become part of a new tour." They could do it when the contract ends
Okay.
with the ATP tour.
Gotcha.
But technically, and then the other thing is sponsors. So sponsors, your greatness is measured by how many slams you've won.
Yep.
Novak Djokovic 24, Nadal 22, Roger 20. No one says, "Oh, he's won." I don't know. It's Grand Slams.
Slams, yeah.
And a sponsor, like a clothing brand, any other sponsor, he says, "Okay, how many slams do you have? How many slams is he gonna win?" Everything is measured by slams.
Okay.
And then in a contract says, "Okay, you have like a minimal play thingy. You get paid out your money if you play a certain amount of tournaments, certain amount of slams."
Mhm.
Because if you play tennis but you don't play ATP, ITF, or Grand Slam tournaments, it's not considered as playing professional tennis. So it's all kind of separate, but it's all working together so that if a player, or 10 players, or 20 players, or 100 players, were to not sign the contract in December and start a new tour, it would cause a mess. With the sponsors, with the Grand Slams, with TV rights, with everything, because then how do you structure a new tour? How do you rank it? You would need to talk to the Grand Slams about it. Like the Grand Slams would then have to be like, "Okay, we're gonna separate ourselves from the ATP or ITF, or we need to make a rule that we allow both ranking systems, if there's a new one and an old one, both ranking systems, we allow them to be eligible to enter the tournament." It's a bit complicated, but it's possible. And there were talks about it that, like, yes, there were players that they were thinking about like starting a new tour.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we've seen some of those.
yeah, but then it's like the players are like, "Okay, we're gonna do it if the slams are gonna join." And I heard a lot of times the slams would be like, "Well, we're gonna do it if the players are gonna join." So it's a chicken and egg thing.
Yeah.
Who goes first? Who comes first? And then the ATP is panicking because they might lose everyone and everything.
No, but I think, as you said, it's just having different conversations also with the other side, the financial institutions that wanted to fund a potential tour. And I think what most people are saying is, as soon as the slams line up, then they'll attract the players, because some of the players already want out.
A lot of players want out. A lot of players they want change. They want to create something new. They believe that there could be something better.
What's the ranking where someone can live off of tennis? What ranking do they need in the ATP terms?
Depends. Now we turn the tables. In the past, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask questions like, "How much money do you need? How can you make 7% interest every year?" And he was like, "Oh, it depends." So I'm gonna go back and say it depends.
But why would you consider you're a professional tennis player and you can only do that?
If you are super careful with money and you play because you can play the ATP and then you can play like leagues, meaning like the French league. It's the same in soccer. Like you can play German league, French league, Italian league, Swiss, Austrian, and so on and so on. So if you do everything you can and you're super conservative with your money, you can be ranked between anywhere up to 200 in the world. 200 and up, like number one.
That's pretty small.
That's very few players.
Yeah.
But if you say you want to live comfortably, because when you're ranked 250 in the world, sometimes you don't travel with a coach.
Yeah.
You sure don't travel business class. You don't travel with a physio. You don't travel even with your girlfriend. You travel alone. You really try to save money, and you play everything you could possibly play. If you're ranked top 100, you can travel with your girlfriend. You have a coach. Like it's okay, and you fly business class long distance. You can do that.
The top 100 is where it really starts.
Top 100, meaning your top 100 is more or less the cut for main draw at a slam. Yeah. If you're main draw at a slam, 4 times a year you make okay money to live off of it. But you're not really saving a lot for later on. Depends on how you live, obviously. But that's like 100 tennis players in the world live off of tennis. And
that's a pretty small selection, even though the tour is much bigger in a way. That the roster that's are considered professional tennis players is much.
Their ranking goes down to, I think it used to be at 2,000. Now I don't know, 3,000 players.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
You spend money to be on tour rather than make money.
That's crazy.
And only 100 live, comfortably.
Yeah.
And only, let's say, top 20, top 30 actually make good money.
Wow.
And then that's the problem when you start a new tour. If you are in the top 10, why change when it's working out okay?
Yeah, no,
exactly. Just leave it as it is. If you are outside the top 100, no one really cares about you. Like what you say, no one. You know what I mean? Like your voice has no weight. And
that's
then
scary.
You look at 10 to 100. That means actually 10 to 20 to 30 players ranked there, they have something to gain from it, and they have some sort of a weight behind their voice.
So that's another challenge that technically the new tour should be able to address.
You need legends to support a new structure. It doesn't have to be a new tour necessarily. It can be the current tour, but with
restructured.
Changes. Yeah, restructured. So it has you need past legends, former legends. Or legends from the past, current legends, and all the great players that are not legends yet and that are still there, that are relevant. Because you have top 10 players, but if they don't have any opponents, it's still boring. And getting them all on board, people coming from different countries, continents, cultures, languages, beliefs, and personal needs, getting them all on the same page to unite and then be strong as one is nearly impossible.
Yeah. And also, I guess not all of them are business oriented. So that's another
that's
big
what I mean,
challenge,
getting them on the same page also when it comes to education.
Just numbers, just saying this on the long term gives more to everyone, but you personally as well.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, unless someone comes and says, look, I'm going to put in so much money for the next 5 years that you don't have to worry about it. And then there's been multiple people and organizations that had that idea already 10 years ago. The first time I heard about it was 10, 15 years ago. Just come in with multiple billions, 5 billion, and just guarantee players money for 5 years and just basically buy them. And then the money, the players will be like, okay, we're set for life because there will be so much money in those 5 years that we don't need to worry about, then you get everyone. And then the slams would maybe be forced to follow. That's how I see that will be possible. Everything else. But then the question to you, if you put in that much money, how do you make it financially reasonable and workable?
I think I just ran some numbers just for the fun of it with all the conversations that happened over the past 2 years, and actually with sponsorships and media rights you do get in the green, and then you actually build also brand on that.
How much more money could you make compared to now
as the owner of that structure?
Well, the players, I mean.
Oh no, the players, they gain on everything. You could create a structure where they gain on everything,
but
and
they
price
gain
pool.
By how much? 5%? Because
price pool, price pools double.
Double.
Yeah, but then doesn't mean the distribution to each player doubles. So it means your top guys will get. It depends also on how you want to cut the pie, because then in some formats you include the women as well, and you're supporting that roster too.
Yeah.
You also sometimes you're putting more funds into your, under the top 100 guys.
Yeah.
So the price pool that there were some models I just ran the numbers on. Price pool did double quite significantly, but then the comforts and all the other things that maybe a union would offer, all those advantages come in. But that makes me want to ask you, women's sports right now. You see the WNBA with the Caitlin Clarks. You see there's real impact from individual players. Tennis, I remember when I was watching the Williams sisters, force of nature, and everyone loved them. Helen Harden was also there, but maybe not as just in Helen Harden there. Maria Sharapova. You had some of those
big names.
Yeah, it had big names.
It was fun.
Today, do you think women's tennis has more talents, less big names? And do you think it's getting better on that end as well, or not really? Is it more big names? I mean, less big names today because the talent is more spread out, or is it just because there's less?
It's hard for me to say, but when I was growing up, I would enjoy watching those big matches. Jennifer Capriati, Davenport, Clijsters, Henin, Sharapova, Williams sisters. Before that, Hingis, Steffi Graf. I mean, I already named you like a lot of legends.
Even Mauresmo
and there was a lot of them, and they were all cool and fun, and they had personalities. That we had less social media, but we still had great personalities, and they were all kind of different. Now, Iga. Mm-hmm. and Iga Swiatek and Irina Sabalenka, and then there's a couple other ones there. Coco, there's Rybakina, there's a couple other ones. I might be forgetting someone, but for me, it's harder now to name the legends compared to 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can say, you can give all kinds of reasoning, but the fact is, like, back then, to me, it was more interesting. And doesn't mean it's worse now than it was before, but it was just
so different styles.
It was just more interesting to me, and for some reason, I really enjoyed watching women's semis at the U.S. Open night session. Kim Clijsters against Jennifer Capriati or something like that, or Wozniacki playing. There's so many great players back then, and now I feel like there was also a random stat. Like at some points, they had 12 or more Grand Slams where they had 12 different Grand Slam champions. Every Grand Slam there was a new champion, which is great, because there's always, but you don't have that Rafa Nadal in Paris. You don't have Roger or Novak or someone who's like, okay, they've won 10 already. See if someone can be as good as they are. Now it's like every week there's a new champion, and they're not as consistent, I feel like. And I don't know if it's good for the sport, bad for the sport. They're talking about merging the ATP and the WTA. And they always ask me for my opinion. What do you think if they should merge or not? And I said, honestly, look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, it's a business decision. And then we have this conversation about equal pay or no equal pay. I'm like, if I was, from a human point of view, equal pay to everyone. Of course, I'm like, this is great. The more people make more money, the better it is. If I was a business person, look at the numbers. It's very, very simple. If you sell 5 apples and 1 pear, then apples are better than pears. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very, very simple. And I feel like that's when sometimes it gets a bit confusing. And I think we should keep it very, very simple. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, there's so much politics today that just blurs the lines and makes everything a bit more complicated. So
women, I think Grand Slams, women's sport, like there's equal pay at the Grand Slams, which is incredible. And I think tennis is a leading sport when it comes to that. Name me another sport where, like a big sport, where there's equal pay.
I don't think there's any other. None that I can think off the top of my head.
Like big sports, right?
No, nothing there. Nothing off the top of my head.
So, and I think that's already, we're going into the right direction with that. This is great. But now, if we want to improve tennis and how it's done and how it's working, currently, when you're hurt and you play for a team, you still get your salary, right? You get health. Well, I mean, you get something.
Yeah. I mean, I think in NFL you have some shadowed areas where if you fall in specific in between clauses, you can get injured and get nothing.
Meaning, if you get injured not doing your sport, or
Yeah, if you do have an NFI, it's a non-football injury. They can get cut off, but even if you're playing and you were kind of off,
if you get hurt on a pitch.
Yeah, yeah. But if you get hurt on the pitch, also there's some things where it can be a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
But usually,
I think now it's better though.
Usually soccer, basketball.
Yeah, you still get paid.
You have a salary.
Yeah.
You have a minimum pay. You have a salary. You get healthcare.
Mhm.
You have access to doctors.
Yeah.
In tennis, if you get hurt, zero.
Yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You don't make a single, like, nothing. Once even, it happened to me. Phenomenal story. Up until today, I'm kind of mad at the people that did that. So there was a lot of players, not a lot. There was players that would fly to a Grand Slam. The 4 Grand Slams, they have the highest prize money. So you fly there, and even if you lose first round, you make more money than kind of playing semis at a smaller tournament. So what you do is you play, the points count for 12 months. So you play the 12 months to collect points, so you're a major in those slams. When you go to the slam, you do 4 major slam appearances. You kind of cover all your expenses for the year. So that's your salary. So you fly there, even if you're hurt and you know you're hurt, you still fly to a Grand Slam. You try to play to the best you can, and if it doesn't work out and you're really hurt, you pull out, you retire, but you get the prize money because you worked for it for the last 12 months. Actually, the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yes, yeah.
And so now they came up with a new rule, and it says if you fly to a Grand Slam and before you step onto the court, you know you're hurt and you know there's a chance you won't be able to finish the match or play to the standard that you're used to, you will be fined up to 50% of the first round prize money. Because you're taking away a spot from a lucky loser, meaning somebody who is not good enough in the rankings, who played qualies, lost in qualies because he's not good enough, and then it should be his spot to play because he is physically fit to play. I'm like, so you basically punish me for playing 12 months on your tour. You punish me for trying to do everything I can. And then if, for example, the day before your match, I get a fever or I get sick, I'm supposed to give my spot to someone who was not good enough in the past 12 months, who also lost in the qualies, to give him my spot so that he can play instead of me. And they said, yeah, that's what we want to do, because we don't want first round matches to be lasting shorter than they were supposed to, meaning like retiring second set, first set, third set, whatever it is. I'm like, this is nonsense. Yeah. So anyway, so then I flew to Australia. I wake up the day of my match. I have a fever. I was fine. I wake up. I have a fever. I'm like, oh my God, I have a fever. What am I going to do now? So I come to the courts. I go see the doctor, the tournament doctor. I'm like, I have a fever. I have a match. What am I supposed to do? The doctor's like, there's some medication. Take it. It should reduce your fever. You should be able to play. I'm like, am I okay to play? He's like, yeah. Take the meds 30 minutes before walk on court. You are okay to play. At least attempt to play. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I go on court. I play. Second set, after whatever, I retire because I get dizzy. I get fined 50% of my prize money. I'm like, why that? Because the supervisor, whoever, said, well, you knew you weren't fit. I'm like, yes, but the doctor told me I can play. If the doctor would have said, don't play, you're not allowed, then it's fine. The doctor says it's a tournament doctor. Yeah, but you shouldn't listen to the tournament doctor. You're responsible for knowing whether you're fit or not. That's crazy. I'm like, this is unbelievable. For 12 months, I'm working my butt off to be here, and now I have a fever. I'm not feeling great. And now you take away basically what's mine. Just because on court number 19 of your sold-out stadium, which is sold out for 2 weeks or whatever, and it's not even the tournament that did that. That's the thing. It was the ITF. It's not even the tournament. It was the, let's say, governing body. It doesn't even care, honestly.
Yeah, that's no stake in anything.
And this is what I get personally really mad at. I'm like, what gives you the right to decide whether you take my prize money or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is what's wrong about the structure. Like, we're freelancers. We have no safety. We have like some silly pension plan, which is useless kind of, because we get the money paid out God knows when. It's like, and then there was some investment years where we were making minus. We were like losing it. And like I showed it to some people, like, well, just do the most simple investments. You'll be having like double of what you have right now. Like we have no say, we have no control of our pension plan, health insurance. Like when we get hurt, nothing. And this is what I don't like about it right now.
Oh, that's crazy. No, but I think we'll see.
I was talking for a long time. I'm sorry, but I was.
No, but it's good to
it's
see.
Silly.
The thing is, you've been there. Now you have your brother that's there, so you know it pretty well. And I don't think many of the viewers or any of the fans understand what players go through coming up the ranks and then playing at the high level and then still getting cheated in a way. So I think it was very interesting to have your take on it, and it's going to be interesting to see where that lawsuit takes the whole tour and if there's any new tour that's going to come up. And yeah, I think that was quite a nice summary of the current situation.
And that's why I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. What's something you believe that most people around you don't?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I can answer that myself. Everyone believes, because we talked about the tour.
Go ahead.
And everyone believes, okay, you're on tour, you're top 100, whatever. You just fly business class, you travel, you go to sunny places, 5-star hotels, you take your whole family with you. Luckily, right now, we're able to do that because Sasha, my brother, is playing incredible tennis. And yes, we can bring our family to the courts, but many people, they travel alone for 11 months of the year. They don't see their family. They stay at not so nice hotels. They fly not so nice airlines and flights. And it's not all just glamour, and it's not all just like sunshine and happiness. And you know, when you retire, just sit back and relax on your yacht. It could be better, and I feel like it should be better, whether it's a new tour or some drastic changes. But there's a lot of work to be done.
There you have it.
Okay, good.
Perfect summary.
And that's it.
Thank you for watching Courtside Capital. Please send us any questions you may have. And
next time we won't be bashing the tennis tour anniemore. We'll choose another tour.
Well, thank you.